All right, well, I'm still up here in Alaska, and I'm in Seward now, and I'm gonna do a quick puzzle here. Um, and I've got sort of some mountains and trees and stuff, and some random buildings in the background. I'm kind of out here behind this rental we've got here. I went and saw. We took a little cruise yesterday. I saw a glacier up close. That was pretty cool. So I'm gonna have some pictures of glaciers probably in the thumbnail and on the puzzle page. And it has nothing to do with today's puzzle, but I'm here in Seward and I was taking pictures of glaciers, so I'm going to include them on here anyways. Today I'm actually going to do a puzzle type called Akari, and this is by Prasanna Seshadri, and as usual, I'm probably mispronouncing the name, but there you go. And this is called Puzzle 510, and if you're wondering why it doesn't have some sort of exciting name, that's because this is from Prasanna's blog, where Prasanna has posted over 500 puzzles now, and so he can't come up with an original name for all of them. But this is Puzzle 510, Akari from Prasanna's blog. I'll leave a link down below where you can find all of the puzzles and this puzzle specifically. And I believe Prasanna included a link to Penpa, but I've got it in Puzzlink here, just because I'm more used to Puzzlink, so I'm familiar with it. So that's what I'm going to use. So rules for Akari. You're placing lights in the cells. So instead of doing numbers like Sudoku normally is, we're putting lights in. So you can click in Puzzlink here and it'll put in a light. And the lights, as you can see, illuminate all of the cells in the same column and row until they hit one of these black cells. So kind of like if you had you can imagine this is the top view of a room and you're lighting up a lantern, it's going to go, and when it hits these black cells, kind of like columns in the room, it stops the light. And so you're lighting up all of the cells. Two lights cannot see each other, so you can't do something like that because these lights would shine on each other. But you could do something like this, that would be okay. And the numbers indicate how many lights are adjacent to that cell. So like this 2 here means you'd have to have 2 lights adjacent. It could be something like that or that, but just orthogonally adjacent. So like this 1 cell, you could have one there and also there, and that would be okay because diagonally doesn't count. And that's it. That's all the rules. So I'm going to give it a try now. You can try it out yourself. I'll also probably link right up here. I'll link to a previous video I did on Akari. I think we did some Akari with the advent calendar of puzzles that I did back in December. So I'll link to that as well. All right, here we go. So, well, obviously the first thing you can do is go around all the zeros here. And by the way, you right-click to kind of mark a cell as not a light. And we can kind of fill in all these zeros, and that makes us feel like we're doing something, making some progress before we actually get started here. Now, you get something like this where this 1, we've already eliminated 2 options for this 1, right? So we know there's either a light there or there. Either way, this cell is going to be illuminated by either one of those lights. So we can put a dot there. Same thing over here. There's only 2 options here. We can put a dot there. And now that we've got those 2 dots, we can do the same thing with this one up here, because there's going to have to be a light in one of those 2. So those kind of cascade along up the grid there. Let's see, what else can we do? Don't see any others like that specifically. Oh, okay, so something else we can do. So there's a couple of things to look for. One thing is numbers that need to have a light, right? So like this 1 here has to have 1 light on it. But the other thing to look at is cells that have to be lit. So this cell right here in particular, how can we light that cell? Because we can't have a light go through the black. So it's got to be either here or one of these 4. There's only 4 cells, including itself, that can light that cell right there. And 3 of them already have dots in them. So there has to be a light right there. We don't have any other option. Now, is that going to affect? No, that didn't really help us. I was hoping that was going to shine somewhere, you know, like eliminate a last option for a 1 or something, but it shines on a dot there where we already had no light. Oh, but we can do the same thing with this cell right here. How can we light that cell? The only option is right there. And that does limit our 1 right here, so that gives us another dot there. And now Okay, so down here, so we're gonna have to put a light either there or there because of this one. Now, if we put it here, it counts for both of those ones, and that's fine. You can do that. But the thing to look at is right here. If we put a light right there, that's gonna force a light down here on this other one, but then you'd have two on the one on the right, so that actually can't be one either. So we've got to have one on either side of this one. One on one of those two. So it's either gonna be here or both of those. Those are our options there. Oh, and we need one right over here, because look, how do we light this cell right here? We've got to have one right there. Now, what else can we do? This cell right up here, this one needs to be lit, and we have two options. It's either going to be there or there. We don't know which one it is, but the key thing is we're going to have a light in one of those two. We're also going to have a light in one of these two, and you'll notice those are both, those are the same two columns. So they're going to have to be in opposite columns. So you could do this and that, or you could do it the other way around. But either way, we're going to have lights. And so what we can actually do is fill in the rest of those two columns. We could do those also, although we don't really need to. They're already lit. But because either way, you're going to have a light in one of these two, essentially. So that's going to light that column. And now this one up here has been limited to that. Now that gives us a dot up here because of this one. Now let's see. We know... Okay, so the twos up here, we've only got three options left for this two. So at least one of them is going to have to be up here with this two. And kind of shared, in one of these two spots. What does that do for us? Anything? Not sure. We've got, so we know one of these two has to be. One of these down here. Oh, this one's a dot too because of the 0 there. Missed that one. And because of the column thing. So if we do... Let's see, we know... Where do we go now? So we know one of these two. We know... I feel like maybe it's something down here or with these twos up here. Could we do... Okay, yep. So up here, we've only got three options for this two right here. If we put a light there, how do we complete this two clue over here? We can't. So that one has to be a dot, and now there's only two options left, which now satisfies both of those two clues. Oops, so these need to be dots. That puts a light there because of the 1. And now this one down here only has one option left. Now this 2 only has two options. And now this 2 has one light already. One of these two is going to have to be a light. We can put a dot there. It's kind of turned it into a 1, effectively, because we've already satisfied one of the two. Now this one only has one option left. That fixes our ambiguity in those two columns there. This one down here has to have a light there. Now this one, it could go in either spot here, there or there. But either way, that's one of them on the 2, and the other one can't be because of the 1. So that also tells us there has to be one of these two, the top and the right. So we can put a dot there. Let's see, up here. So this one needs to have one of those. The 2 needs to have one of those. We've got kind of the same thing going on up here, where one of these two is going to have to be a light because of that dot, but I'm not sure which one yet. And we'll have the same thing up here probably. Similar kind of thing, although with the 1 here, we could potentially still have one right there. Don't actually know that yet. Okay, what about this dot? Oh, but we could put it up here. I was gonna say it's gotta be one of these two, but it doesn't. We could have one up here. This dot right here. How do we light this dot? The only option is right there. So that's going to give us one there. That's going to force this 1 to have 1 in one of those two. Puts a dot there. And now we already said we could only do one of the left or bottom of the two. So there has to be one on the right now, since we removed the top as an option. And now this cell here, how are we going to light this cell? You can't. There's nothing looking at it, so it's got to be a light itself, because of the 1, that's going to, and the 2 actually both, is going to eliminate that. And now to light that cell, we need to have 1 there, which satisfies the 1. Now we have to light that cell that we just dotted, which is going to have to be here. That finishes off the 2. And now again, this is just cascading around. This one needs to be lit up, so we're going to have a light there. And now, like we said, we have to have one of these up here. It's going to have to be at the top. Same problem here. This cell needs to be lit right there. And now that one can't be a light. And again, the only way to light that cell is right there, which eliminates one of our options on the 2. Does that. Oh, that was a mistake. Get the 1 there and this one up here. And now we just have to finish off lighting the rest of the grid and complete. There we go. So that was an akari by Prasanna Seshadri, with icebergs in the background, just because I recently went and saw an iceberg and took pictures, not because it was related to this puzzle. Maybe we had to take some lanterns into the iceberg to light it up, or I don't know, whatever. I could make something up, but really I just wanted to have a picture of the iceberg on here. That was a fun puzzle. That was really cool. I've made some akaris myself and played quite a few of them, and most of the time it feels like you're looking at where do I need to put a light because of a number, not because of trying to light spaces, especially right at the beginning. A lot of times that's kind of how you end the puzzle is, oh, I need to light these last couple cells, and but usually right at the beginning you don't start with, oh, I've got a cell that I have to light somehow, and that was kind of cool, and how it all kind of cascaded along. That was nice. I really enjoyed that. So if you liked that puzzle, let me know what you thought. And maybe we'll do some more akari in the future. I like akaris, and sometimes you can combine them with some other puzzle types, and that can be fun too. So I actually did one that was you kind of went. It was in a puzzle hunt, and you used the result of another puzzle to create the akari. I'll leave a link to that puzzle hunt too. If you haven't done my pirate puzzle hunt, I'll leave the link in the description to that one as well. So I'll see you again soon with another puzzle. Thanks. Bye.